often described as cult favorites. Eddie Pepitone.
Never a good sign.
What would
Never a
you-
good sign. It's never a good sign because that means the masses of people aren't that interested. Do you know what I mean? Like that is the definition of cult favorite.
But
Is that basically that means not many people like you.
It also means you're hip. It also makes you hip, though. Like
The what?
it makes you hip. Like you're
Yeah. Hip doesn't pay the bills, but it's but it's really something you could take into certain esoteric coffee shops. You know those coffee shops where they're always like they have to give you a backstory on the coffee. Like this coffee was raised in a village where autistic children pick the beans, and that's why it's $7 a cup. And I always go into coffee shops and like berate the barista by saying, "What elevation was this grown at?" And they're like 7,000 feet. And I'm like, well, listen, if you don't get it past 11,000, I'm not interested.
If you did have your own cult, what would you make them do?
Oh, boy. I think I would be very much like the other cult leaders that we've read about. I think I would want them all to have sex with me, and then I would kill them all. I think I think these guys have gotten it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to go with what's worked.
Yeah, that's true.
And by worked, I mean completely didn't work. You know what I mean?
No, that's why change things up now.
What am I going to do? Am I going to screw with that formula? That has served so many great cult leaders? I don't know. If I had a cult, I don't know. I would tell them, what is wrong with you people?
And you're about to do the Dr. Katz show.
I am. Now, this is a thrill for me because I had never met Jonathan Katz until today.
Oh, wow.
He's a Boston comedian, and I'm a New York, L.A., so our paths never really crossed, and I was a fan of the show, and so now I get to be on it. It's like another little notch in my belt,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That you can still have notches in your belt, too. So, I feel like you're successful.
Yeah.
And you're still
I
meeting new
definitely have a
people.
lot of notches to go. That's the thing about being a late bloomer, which is like the notches. They're ready to be had.
You still have to become a cult leader, so.
That's
you
right.
still have
Yeah.
that
I
notch.
still have to do the cult thing. So I don't know how I'm going to get more notches after we die in a fiery death, but we'll see.
Get them in now.
Get them in now.
We've been talking to a lot of comics about where they started out and some of their first shows.
Yeah. When I first started out, by the way, I was like throwing up before shows. I was so terrified of doing stand-up. That I just never forget one of the first gigs I ever did. It was 14th Street in Manhattan, 14th Street and 9th Avenue, and I forget the name of the bar. It's gone, of course. It's been replaced by 6 bars since then, but it was an open mic, and I'll never forget going into a bathroom stall and just throwing up, and just saying, why am I doing this? But it was
Why
something
were you doing it?
Because it's like stand-up for people who are really stand-ups. It's not a question of, I think I want to do this. It's like you kind of have to do it. Like I always wanted to do it, And then when I started, I knew that this was my path, no matter how painful.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get past the throwing up phase?
Well, I just threw up a little on the street. But it's less vomit. No.
Decreasing amounts.
I think the first year I stopped doing that horrible thing. But, and then it's only like the last, I would say, few years that I'm not a nervous wreck anymore. Like I'm a little nervous tonight, but I don't get like really nervous. And, I attribute that to doing I've been doing overseas shows like in Edinburgh and London. I'm going to London in like 2 weeks to do the Soho Theater for a 2-week run. And it's just me. And when it's just you doing an hour and headlining, you just have to get over it or else you die. I still feel like terribly anxious sometimes. Like, I'm not sure, especially the first night of an opening gig. Like, I'm not sure, if they're going to buy me in this place. But then you go through it, and if you go through it enough, you're just sort of like, I guess that's the definition of a professional in a way. It's like you just kind of put on your hard hat and go to work instead of like, this night, this is going to define my whole life. I still have an element of that, but I just realized, you got to do it.
Yeah.